Well, hey guys, it's about 5 or 10 minutes after 7, just a few minutes after our scheduled webinar, and I posted a message both in the announcements section and also to everyone's email that for some reason the webinar failed. I was using an online webinar program called OnStream. They had a 30-day free trial. I signed up, kind of test drove everything, ahead of time. Everything seemed to work. I got on about 10 minutes till. Everything seemed to be working and it crashed me out. I was never able to get back in. So sorry about that. What I'm going to do though is just go ahead and go through the information that I was going to share with you. Really, the idea was for you to provide me feedback and ask any questions that you might have had regarding to the course content, but I'll still encourage you to do that. So either in your discussion post or in a separate mail message, if you would like to send me any other questions that you have related to any of the content in the course, I would be glad to entertain your questions. It also would help me too as sort of an evaluation of the course and things that you thought went well, areas of improvement that you might have for me. That would be great. So we did take a look initially at constructivism, and especially around the notion of learning from a constructivist notion of that point. And we coupled that week with the domains that Danielson talked about. So I thought that those went well together, but you may still have some questions related to those. One of the questions I think that comes up is whether or not you can have a truly constructivist classroom or a truly constructivist learning situation. And I would just say probably not, that there are enough elements in the way people learn that not everyone will be able to function well in a totally constructivist manner. I think learning takes place through several different learning theories, and constructivism is one of those. Just think for a moment about classroom behavior, even just human behavior. We know that actions that are rewarded will be continued. So if you are throwing a baseball or doing something in the classroom and someone encourages you and says, yes, that's a great job, keep doing that, that will continue. You'll continually repeat that pattern. And that is more along the learning theory of behaviorism. And so I think that true learning, or learning in general, takes place through the eyes of many different learning strategies and learning theories, constructivism being one of those. Then we spent some time talking about mentoring and what it takes to set up a mentoring program. I really enjoyed reading your assignments that week because some of you are already involved in a mentoring program. Either you have been as a mentee or you're currently doing it as a mentor. I really think this is important and so valuable for our profession because we're expected. And the very first year we walk into a classroom, right out of college, we're expected to perform like a 20-year veteran, and that's just not fair. So mentoring is so important at all levels of education. As you move into administration, I highly encourage you to seek out a mentor if you don't have one assigned to you. So keep that in mind as you move out of the classroom and into administrative type roles. We talked about teacher evaluation. As classroom teachers, you have all been evaluated from one side of that notion, but as an administrator, you will be doing it from the other side of the desk. So hopefully our discussion that week helped you begin to formulate some ideas around teacher evaluation. We talked about PLCs. Many of you in your schools currently use that structure for professional development, so I highly encourage you to continue to do that. Some of you expressed concerns about PLCs that were not functioning well, and hopefully our discussion the last 2 weeks of the course now, weeks 7 and 8, about leadership will give you some ideas about how to better structure and run PLCs. Then, as I just alluded to, we've been talking about this week about leadership. We'll do the same thing next week. I think for me personally, this is one of those key areas that if you really focus on growing as a leader, you can learn those other skills that we've already talked about and many others that you'll talk about in other courses in this program. So leadership is key, but continuing to develop as a leader will also be paramount to your success as an administrator. So next steps, One of the things I would like to remind you or suggest to you is the assignments that you turned in, I asked you to make them applicable to your setting. Many of you will probably not work as an administrator this fall, and so you may sit on these assignments for a year or more before you actually use them. You won't know how effective those assignments truly are until you put them to practice. So just like when you were creating lessons as a teacher, you had an idea on paper, you really didn't know how it would play out with students until you did that lesson. The same thing's true with the documents and the various assignments that you've completed in this course. Use them as a foundation so that when you do move into the role as an administrator, you at least have something to draw from, but recognize that those are really rough drafts. They will inform your thinking, they'll give you a start, but then you're going to go back in and you'll make adjustments to those, you'll rewrite them, you'll change strategies, and you'll continually improve upon the assignments that you've done in this course. So that's basically what I wanted to cover. If you had questions, I was going to entertain those questions on the webinar, but again, if you have any thoughts or comments, fire them my way. Enjoy the last week of class, and I'll see you online. Thanks. Bye.